He wasn't just my best friend. He was like my brother. The kind of friend you never think will hurt you. Until one day, he does. My name is Ethan Cole. I grew up in a quiet little town in Ohio. Maple Ridge. Population. Small enough that everyone knew your secrets, but not small enough to know who would betray you first. Ryan Blake was the first friend I ever made. We met in 3rd grade. I had a busted lip from a bully. He had detention for punching that bully in the face. He didn't even know my name yet, but he'd already decided to protect me. From that day on, we were inseparable. We played ball in empty parking lots. We rode bikes until our legs gave out. We shared lunches, video games, and stupid dreams we never thought would matter. And one day, under the old oak tree behind my grandmother's house, we made a pact. Brothers for life. No matter what. That became our thing. Whenever life got hard, whenever one of us felt lost, we just say it. Brothers for life. No matter what. It always brought us back. By the time we reached high school, our bond was unshakable. At least that's what I thought. I had dreams of becoming an architect. Ryan wanted to make the next big tech startup. He was obsessed with code, with innovation, with leaving our small town behind. We both applied to the same college in Chicago, but only I got in. Ryan didn't. He tried to play it cool when he found out. "Guess it's not my time yet, man," he said with a laugh. But his eyes said something else. Something heavy. I told him it didn't matter. That we'd still be close. That he'd figure it out. He nodded. But he didn't believe me. Maybe. Deep down, I didn't believe myself either. College hit me like a storm. Deadlines, projects, late nights in the studio. I barely had time to breathe, let alone Cole. But every time I came home, we picked up like nothing had changed. At least on the surface. What I didn't see was how much he was struggling. While I was building models of future skyscrapers, Ryan was stocking shelves at a grocery store. While I was winning awards and internships, he was sleeping through afternoons and chasing ideas that never quite landed. Then came the summer before my final year. I landed an internship at one of the top firms in the city. It was a dream job, one that could launch my career before I even graduated. But it meant I wouldn't be coming home that summer. When I told Ryan, he didn't smile, didn't even fake it. He just looked at me and said, "Cool. Do your thing, man." And walked away. No hug, no handshake, nothing. I tried to tell myself he was just disappointed, that he needed time, that he'd come around. But something in that moment felt different, felt broken. I texted him a few times that summer. No response. I sent him a birthday video. He left it on read. By the time August came around, I stopped trying. At the start of senior year, everything changed, and her name was Jenna Hart. She was the new transfer student from Arizona, studying interior design. Dark, witty, and impossible to ignore. She walked into my design class like a hurricane, and within 2 weeks, I was head over heels. Our connection was instant. We studied together, grabbed coffee after late classes, started dating before Thanksgiving. For the first time in years, I felt like I had someone who really got me. I didn't even think to mention her to Ryan. We hadn't talked in months, but small towns have big mouths. Word got to him anyway. One night, out of the blue, he texted me, "Jenna Hart." Really? I stared at the screen for a long time. Didn't even know how to respond, so I didn't. Weeks passed. Jenna and I got serious. We spent Christmas break together at her parents' place. When I got back home in January, Ryan was waiting for me, outside my apartment. He looked thinner, more tired, like life had been chewing him up. I opened the door, unsure what to say, but he beat me to it. "So, you ghost me for 6 months, and now you're dating her." I blinked. "What does that even mean?" "Yes," he scoffed. You know exactly what it means. His voice was sharp and unfamiliar. I told him I didn't owe him an explanation, that my life had moved on, that he couldn't just show up and start pointing fingers. He laughed bitterly. Moved on, huh? That easy for you. Then he walked away. And no hug, no handshake, just silence. For the first time in my life, I felt like I didn't know him anymore. But I had no idea what he was about to do next. Because betrayal doesn't always come with a warning. Sometimes it comes with a smile and a plan. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the photo of us from college. We were in matching hoodies, arms around each other, beaming like idiots. That day had felt like the start of something we'd never lose. But now it just looked like a lie frozen in time. I hadn't spoken to Cole in 3 weeks. After what happened at the firm, the silence between us had grown into a chasm, one I didn't know how to cross anymore. But the truth was, I didn't even know if I wanted to. He had betrayed me. And not just in some small way you could forgive over drinks. He had torched everything. That morning, I got a call from our old professor, Dr. Elaine Marrow. She sounded worried. Liam, I don't mean to interfere, but I ran into Cole at a conference. He looked lost. I swallowed hard. He should feel lost. I thanked her, but I didn't know what to do with that information. My mind had been on replay. That boardroom moment. That sharp twist in my gut when I realized it was him who leaked my strategy. He had stolen months of my work, fed it to the rival team, and sat across from me as if we were still on the same side. Was it jealousy, revenge, or something more complicated? I didn't know yet. All I knew was that I'd trusted him with everything, and he'd gutted me with it. My phone buzzed again. Text from Maya. Hey, have you talked to Cole? I heard he left the city. Left? Why would he leave? Where would he even go? We'd built everything here. Our careers. Our lives. Together. I got dressed, not sure why. Maybe just to move. To stop the storm in my head from swallowing me whole. I went to our usual coffee shop. The place where we dreamt up business plans and laughed about stupid things. It was quieter now. I sat in our corner booth, watching the door, half expecting him to walk in like nothing happened, like we could go back. But he didn't. Instead, I saw Jordan, our old intern, walk in. He spotted me and came over. Liam. Hey, can I sit? He nodded. He looked uncomfortable, fiddling with his coffee cup. Then he said it. I probably shouldn't tell you this, but Cole didn't leak your strategy out of malice. I blinked. What are you talking about? He was blackmailed. What? Jordan lowered his voice. His brother. You know, Alex. He got caught up in some debt. Nasty people. They threatened to hurt him unless Cole gave them something big from the firm. I stared at him, disbelief flooding every inch of my body. He didn't want to do it, Jordan added. He even tried to tell you that night. But you never showed up to the bar. I remembered that night. He had asked me to meet, but I blew him off. Had a deadline. I thought whatever he had to say could wait. I felt sick. The room tilted slightly. I couldn't breathe. He was protecting his brother. Why didn't he just tell me? But then again, would I have believed him? Would I have thought it was just another excuse? Jordan continued. He left the city after he got fired. Said he needed space. To figure out if there was anything left to fix. I nodded slowly. My chest hurt. Like the truth was too heavy for my ribs to carry. I left the coffee shop and walked to the park. The one we used to escape to when the world got too loud. The bench under the oak tree was still there. Empty. Like me. I sat for a long time, trying to rewind every fight. Every silence. Every crack that grew into a canyon. How did two best friends become strangers? Worse, how did we become enemies? I pulled out my phone, found his number. My thumb hovered over the screen. I typed. Deleted. Typed again. Finally I wrote, I heard about Alex. Sorry. I should have listened. And hit send. A part of me expected nothing. Another part hoped that maybe, just maybe, this wasn't the end. 2 hours passed. No reply. Then, just as I was about to head home, my phone buzzed. It was a message from an unknown number. This is Cole. Changed phones. I didn't think you'd ever text me again. I stared at it, my heart thudding. Then another message came through. Asterisk, can we talk? Face to face. I typed one word back. Tomorrow. He replied. Asterisk, yeah. The oak bench. Noon. That night I couldn't sleep. Too many questions. Too much pain still leaking from the past. But under it all, something stirred. Tiny spark. Hope. Redemption. I didn't know yet. But I knew I'd be there. At noon. Waiting. 'Cause maybe, just maybe, some friendships don't end with betrayal. Some begin again with forgiveness. I got to the park 10 minutes early. The same bench under the oak tree. The same breeze rustling the leaves. But everything else felt different. He hadn't arrived yet. And every second stretched like a rope tightening around my chest. I sat there, hands clasped, watching people pass. None of them him. Until I saw a figure walking slowly down the path. Head low, hood up, like someone carrying shame on his back. It was him. Cole. He looked thinner. He's heavier. Like life had drained something out of him in the weeks since I'd last seen him. When our worlds collapsed. He stopped a few feet from me. We both hesitated. Then he gave a soft nod and sat down beside me. Not too close, but close enough for the silence to speak. We didn't look at each other. Not at first. Just stared straight ahead. Two ghosts visiting the grave of something they once cherished. Finally I spoke. You look like hell. He gave a dry laugh. I feel worse. Another silence. Then I said it. I know about Alex. He turned his head slowly, eyes wide, then narrowed with disbelief. Who told you? Jordan. Cole exhaled, shook his head. Of course. Then added. He was always more loyal than I gave him credit for. I leaned forward, elbows on my knees. Why didn't you just tell me, Cole? He let out a bitter sigh. I tried. That night at the bar. Remember? I do now. I closed my eyes briefly. I didn't show. I thought it could wait. His voice cracked. It couldn't. We sat in that raw honesty for a moment. Then he said, I didn't know what else to do. They threatened to kill him. I panicked. You stole from me. I betrayed you. I know. He didn't defend himself. Didn't flinch. Just owned it like a man holding his own noose. I turned to him. I trusted you with everything, Cole. Not just the work. My life. His eyes shimmered. And when he finally met my gaze, it wasn't anger I saw. It was grief, like he'd been mourning too. The death of our friendship. The weight of what he'd done. I was going to turn myself in, he said. After Alex got out of town. I didn't care what happened to me. But the firm fired me before I could explain. And you? You wouldn't even look at me. I couldn't. I know. He stood up suddenly. Started pacing. I didn't come here expecting forgiveness. I wouldn't even know what to do with it. But I needed you to know the truth. I needed you to hear it from me. Not a rumor. Not a whisper. Me. I watched him struggle. Every sentence a knife. Every breath a confession. Then he stopped and looked down at me. I've lost everything, Liam. The job. The apartment. Half of my friends. And maybe that's what I deserve. My throat tightened, but I said nothing. He sat back down, this time a little closer. I think about that day a lot. The look on your face when you found out. I'll never forget it. I nodded slowly. That's the thing about trust, Cole. Doesn't break clean. Shatters. And the pieces cut deep. He looked away. I know. Another long silence. But not as heavy this time. Then I asked, "Where have you been staying?" He hesitated. Then said, "With my aunt in Vermont. She let me crash while I figured things out. I just got back last night." "And why did you come back?" He gave a sad smile. "For this. To sit here with you. Even if it went bad. I had to try." I studied him. He was still the same guy in some ways. Same crooked smile. Same nervous habit of tapping his thumb on his jeans. But also not the same. More weathered. More real. "I don't know if we can go back, Cole." "I'm not asking to." "Then what are you asking?" He paused. "Just a chance to make things right. In any way I can. Even if we never speak again. I just want to fix what I broke." I stared at him. And for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel anger. Felt loss. And underneath that, a flicker of something else. Maybe forgiveness. Maybe not yet. But maybe one day. I stood up. He looked confused. Then stood too. "You hungry?" Yes. He blinked. "What?" "There's a place down the street. Still has those terrible curly fries you love." He smiled slowly. "Are you serious?" Shrugged. "Just fries. Don't read into it." But he was already nodding. "I won't." We started walking. Not like before. Not shoulder to shoulder. But not far apart either. Halfway there he said, "I missed this. Even the quiet." I didn't respond. Didn't need to. He knew. Over fries and black coffee we talked about everything except the betrayal. We joked a little. Talked about old movies, old teachers. Things that didn't sting. When the bill came we split it down the middle. A symbolic truce. A neutral ground. Outside the diner he paused. "You don't have to let me back in, Liam. Get it. But today meant everything to me." He nodded. And without thinking I said, "Maybe we start small. One honest conversation at a time." His eyes widened. Like he hadn't expected that. Not even in his best hopes. He offered his hand. I shook it. The gesture simple. But weighty. Like planting a seed in cracked soil. And as we went our separate ways that night, I realized something. Trust doesn't regrow overnight. But sometimes, you can still find the roots. Buried under the wreckage. Waiting. I couldn't sleep that night. Not because of anger. But because of the silence between us. Me and Cole. Two kids who once shared everything. Now. Nothing. The text stopped. The calls faded. And the memories. They haunted me more than I ever expected. I stared at the ceiling, wondering, how did we even get here? The next morning I found myself walking toward the old basketball court. Not to play, but to remember. It was where we built our friendship. One shot at a time. One joke at a time. Stood there. Alone. Ball in hand. But it felt heavier than usual. I heard footsteps behind me. Then, that voice. "Liam. You still play?" It was Jordan. Turned. Nodded slowly. "Not as much since." "You know." Jordan sat beside me on the bench. Said nothing at first. Just pulled out a cold drink from his backpack and handed it to me. Took it. Mostly out of politeness. Then he broke the silence. "You know he didn't mean for it to go that far. Right?" I clenched my jaw. But didn't respond. "He thought he was protecting someone he loved," Jordan continued. "And yeah. He messed up. Real bad. But he's not sleeping either, Liam." I closed my eyes. I just wish he told me the truth. Instead of making me look like a fool. Jordan sighed. Sometimes people choose silence over honesty, thinking it'll hurt less. But it hurts more, I whispered. 3 days passed. No call from Cole, no visit, just empty air and unspoken apologies. Until one evening, as I was walking home from the diner, I saw someone sitting on my porch. It was him, Cole, wearing that same hoodie from years ago, the one I gave him on his birthday. He stood up slowly, looked me in the eyes, didn't say a word, just handed me a folded piece of paper, took it, unfolded it, and read. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just want you to know why I did what I did. It wasn't about trust. It was about fear. I didn't want to lose Alex. And in saving him, lost you. That's on me. My hands trembled. I couldn't read past that. I looked up. He was already walking away. Cole called out to stop, but didn't turn. I miss who we were, said softly. He replied without turning. So do I. I watched him walk down the street, back into his world, one that no longer had me in it. And for the first time, I realized something. Forgiveness isn't about fixing the past. It's about freeing yourself from it. That night I wrote him back, not to rekindle what we had, but to end it right. You were my brother, and you'll always be a chapter in my life. But some chapters aren't meant to be reread. They're just meant to be respected. The next few weeks were strange. No drama, no fights, just peace, and a quiet ache, focused on my art again. Something I'd abandoned when our friendship fell apart. With every sketch, every canvas, I felt pieces of myself returning. One afternoon I held an exhibit. My first one. People came. Strangers, friends, and even family. But as I was talking to a local reporter, I felt a familiar presence. Turned, and there he was. Oh, he didn't come close, didn't say anything, but I saw him standing by the corner, looking at a painting titled Unfinished Truths. He stayed for only 5 minutes, and left. That was enough. Some friendships aren't built to last forever, but they do shape who you become. And Cole shaped me, not because he was perfect, but because he showed me the strength of standing alone. Later that week I received a package. No name, no return address. Inside was a small wooden box, with one thing inside, a basketball. Hint, from your worst mistake to your best teacher. Cole. I smiled, not because I wanted him back, but because I finally understood. Some people come into your life to break you, so you can learn to rebuild stronger. Sometimes, closure comes not from a conversation, but from a lesson. I didn't sleep the night before the reunion. Too many thoughts raced through my mind. 10 years was a long time. But the pain still felt fresh. The betrayal, the silence that followed, and the questions that were never answered. I hadn't planned on coming, but something inside me needed closure. Needed to see his face again. Not for revenge, not even for forgiveness, just the truth. I arrived at the old community hall, the same place we used to hang out after school. Everything looked the same, but everything felt different. I stepped inside, and instantly, I saw him. Ryan. He looked older. Tired, as if the years had aged him more than they should have. He was standing near the punch table, nervously sipping from a red cup, avoiding eye contact with everyone. When his eyes finally met mine, I froze, and for a moment, neither of us moved. And, slowly, he walked toward me. Hey, Daniel. His voice cracked a little, as if saying my name hurt. Didn't think you'd come. I nodded slightly, then spoke quietly. I almost didn't. He looked down, shifting uncomfortably. I deserve that. I didn't say anything. Just waited. Can we talk? I hesitated, but then nodded. We stepped outside, into the cool evening air. The silence between us was heavy, like a rope tied too tight around the neck. Ryan rubbed his hands together, looking at the ground. I know I ruined everything. I stayed quiet. You trusted me, and I broke that trust. He looked up. His eyes were red. I didn't mean to fall for her, Dan. I swear to God. It just happened. I clenched my jaw, the anger rising again. You could have told me. I whispered. You could have just said something. Instead of sneaking around behind my back. He looked gutted. I was a coward, he admitted. I thought if I ignored it, it'd go away. But then she told me she wanted to be with me. And I froze. My stomach turned. You didn't just take my girlfriend, Ryan. You took my best friend too. He nodded slowly. I lost both of you that day. And I've regretted it every damn day since. His voice shook. I see your posts online. Your job. Your travel. You look happy. I laughed bitterly. That's what people post, right? The highlights. He looked down again. I miss what we had. I exhaled deeply. I'm not the same person anymore, Ryan. And neither are you. He nodded. I just wanted you to know. I'm sorry. Really, truly sorry. The silence lingered. And for the first time in years, I saw the kid I grew up with. Not the man who broke my trust, but the one who once stood by me through every storm. I forgive you. The words came out softer than I expected. Ryan looked up, eyes wide. You what? I forgive you, I said again. But that doesn't mean things will go back to the way they were. He nodded quickly. I don't expect that. I needed to say it. We stood there, side by side. Two broken pieces of a once whole bond. But something had shifted. I don't know if we'll ever be close again, but I do know this. Sometimes, letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It just means choosing peace over pain. And for the first time in 10 years, I finally felt peace.